I should be like you, Mel.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Hello, it's Saturday morning once again. It's 8 a.m. in the UK. It's 5 p.m. or sometime like that in Oz. If I'm right, I'm not mistaken, Paul. So, of course,
7 p.m, mate.
Oh, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. So, of course, that can only mean one thing, and that's on the sidelines with myself and my co-host, Paul. Paul, how you doing? Hope you're well.
Yeah, look, I'm fine, mate. Strange weather today. Beautiful morning. And then early afternoon deteriorated. We had a lot of thunder, downpours of rain, 17 degrees overcast, but can't complain, mate, can we?
Excellent. To be fair, we've had some lovely days, some lovely spring days here this week, so it's been nice. And the sun seems to be out now, which is nice. So some nice weather this week, which has made a change. But welcome to everybody. Thank you, as always, for watching. We'll come to the chat very, very quickly. We do have quite a packed show today, so we will probably speed through a few bits. We will bring up the spot the ball graphics very shortly, and why we discuss a little bit on last night's game. The spot the ball will be on the screen for you to have a good long look at. So that will be happening. We'll also go through some other Cherries related news. We'll have a look at the fixtures for the weekend, and then we should be joined by a couple of guests for our relegation debate. Hopefully we'll have Harry from the Scarfy Talks Spurs podcast channel, and also we've got another very familiar face joining us as well, so do stay tuned. We're going to look right into the relegation battle and all give our views and opinions, and we'd love all your views and opinions in the chat as well. But let's quickly pop to the chat and say hello to everybody that's in so far. Here we go. Vanessa and the gang are in. Good morning, all. Looking forward to the show. Thank you for joining us, as always. And Julie's in as well. Looking forward to a great show. Thank you, Julie. Hope you're well. Malcolm, as always, great to have you with us, buddy. And I'm sure we might see you a little bit later on. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all have a great weekend. Morning to you, Chris. I'm sure you enjoyed the game last night, mate. Hope you're well. Oh, and Paul as well. Yeah, not forgetting Paul. Washbournes?
Oh, no, that's Mark. That's my friend Mark from Bundonoon. Yeah, no, it's a big Spurs fan, mate.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, hi, Mark. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah.
I don't know whether you will enjoy the relegation segment, but we will be discussing Spurs then. Hey, Matt and Paul, looking forward to the show. So it's a bit, is that
I can't read it there. I'm so sorry.
the Southern Highlands?
Looking forward to the show. Underneath. Oh, that's Colin. No, that's Colin.
Yeah, Colin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, sorry, I couldn't read it.
Thanks for joining us, Colin, as always. Great to have you with us. Good morning, Matt and Paul. It's evening here in Australia. Have a great show from the Aussie Geordie in Newcastle, New South Wales.
Hi, Darren.
Hi, Darren. Yeah, that's Darren. Darren's in as well. Thank you, Darren, for joining us.
Geordie.
Yes. And 4 seasons in one day in the Southern Highlands of Australia. Wow, we've had some weather down there then.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in.
Excuse the typo, busy eating, should be gloomy. So he's had some gloomy weather down there in the Southern Highlands.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, Matt and Paul. We're rainy Sydney. So it's raining in Sydney. You right there, Paul?
Yeah, I'm trying to read. I'm afraid I got a bit of a problem here. Hang on, buddy. Hang on.
That's all right. No worries. It's Sally
now I've got it. Oh, that's Olivia and Adam. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, no, I had
that's fine. No worries. Thank you guys for joining us. Okay, well, let's bring up Spot the Ball very quickly. So this is a action shot from the previous United game this season at Old Trafford, the 4-4 thriller. As you can see there, we are defending a free kick from Fernandez, which I think this one went in. Can't remember fully. But anyway, A, B, C, or D, where do you think the ball is? Do you pop it into the comments? I'll star the comments and we'll look at them towards the end of the show. As always, Paul, you haven't seen this.
No. I do remember it. Comes from the 4-4 draw. That was never a free kick. That was never a free kick. It's C, I believe. That's where I'm going. But
C. We're going C.
C. Yeah.
Okay. We got some guesses coming in already from some of the guys in the chat. So thank you, guys. I'm just going to star all those guesses, and we'll take a look at the end of the show, and we'll have a look and see what you all think. But we're going to leave it on the screen for a little bit, just there, so you guys get a little bit of a longer look at it. But yes, last night there was the little matter of a game, which we're just going to cover off very briefly. Paul wants to have some, give us some views. I was there at the game last night. Great atmosphere as always under the lights at the Vitality. Paul, you watched it on TV, so you saw it from a different perspective to me. You know, what did you think of the game as a whole? I know you want to give a couple of the players a shout out as well.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's thoroughly entertaining stuff, isn't it? It was, to think that we drew at Burnley and then you draw at home to United. They're both worth the same, but that was a harder draw last night. I mean, players that stood out for me. I thought Petrovic in goal had his best game I've ever seen him play. That save with his foot was an incredible save. I thought Triffer played well. Evan Nilsson, best game he's played in a long time. His hold-up play was brilliant. And obviously James Hill, the £1 million wonder kid, mate. What a game he had. I mean, he couldn't help that goal. It literally hit him on the head. You know, he couldn't get out of the way. But yeah, interesting stuff. I also think, just briefly, and I will make it briefly, the 3 penalties. The first one, I've no idea why Jimenez did that. Absolutely not a clue. Never going to get away with that in a million years. And if I was a United fan, which I'm not, I think that was a penalty. I think we dodged a bullet in that one, mate, on that second penalty. I don't know what your thought was, Matt. You were right there, right behind the goal, weren't you?
Yeah. And from the angle I saw it at, I haven't managed to see it again. It's one of those that I'd like to see it again. But initially, from seeing it live last night, I thought might be lucky to get away with this one. Because from my first obviously seeing it live, that was my initial reaction. Like I say, I haven't managed to see it again. I'll catch up and rewatch some bits today. But yeah, I can see why the Man United fans have made quite a stir about it, to be fair. I can see that. We haven't always had the rub of the green with VAR, as you well know. So yeah, it sort of kind of makes a change that we sort of get a bit of luck from it. But yeah, for me, my initial first thought was that that's going to be another penalty.
You could just see the way he sort of was pulled round and he landed on the ball on his back. You know, you couldn't. Yeah, it was. I believe it was a penalty, but we got away with one. But hey, United have got away with us with stuff with us as well, haven't they? The third penalty. I mean, what Maguire was doing again. He's been doing that for years. When he gets beat for pace, he just brings his arm across a player, and Evan Nielsen went down beautifully. Clear red, and then he moans. Yeah, he moans with Fernandez like he's done nothing wrong, and you think, man, you know, you blocked him off, completely blocked him off. I think Evan Nielsen would have scored. And what a penalty from Krupi. Wow, didn't he put that away? But
his family was sat just to the right of me.
Really?
Yeah. And yeah, you could see that, you know, their reaction once that went in. I mean, well taken penalty, lovely the way he hit it. Beautifully done. But yeah, his family massively enjoyed that last night. So yeah, it was nice to see in that.
Brilliant. And then of course Ryan Christie, you know, I didn't see that coming.
Good finish. I mean, you know, you see him there, and you know, actually, I have seen that goal. I saw that on a short on Facebook last night. Where I was sat, it looked like he hit it a lot harder. But you know, when you see it again, he didn't hit it hard. He just placed it beautifully. So yeah, good finish from Christie. Nice to see him get on the score sheet again as well.
Yeah, for sure, 100%, mate. Loved it. What a match! Great entertainment. Yeah, that's brilliant, Matt. That's my summary of it, mate. Fantastic. Yeah, you're lucky. You and Chris Hubble, mate. Lucky boys to be there. Good stuff.
Yes, yeah. No, it's again, like I say, really good game under the lights last night. But you know, there will be more reaction to the game, so stay tuned to the channel. But yeah, Paul always likes to give his thoughts on the up and coming game or a game that's just happened. So it wouldn't be on the sidelines without Paul having his little say there. But we're going to move on.
I just 30 seconds. It just brought back a memory of. I remember when Maguire played for Leicester. You know, probably 7-8 years ago, and Callum Wilson and Josh King were up front, and they were doing him for pace all the time, and he was trying all that stuff 7 or 8 years ago, and I couldn't believe he's pleading his innocence, you know, like a little schoolboy, like, what did I do? You know, so it's so blatantly obvious, but that's football. Yeah, move on, Matty. Yeah,
but there's Spot the Ball. That's going to come away now. But we'll just quickly jump back into a couple of the comments. Like I say, everyone that's put a guess in, I have starred it. We'll have a look at it before we reveal the answer. David's in. Good morning, Matt and Paul. Looking forward to the show. Thank you, David, for joining us as always. And there's another David as well. David DaCosta, hope you're well. Still on location, 26 degrees and sunny. Crap internet in New South. Well, thanks for battling through the internet issues, David, and thanks for joining us for as long as you can. It's always appreciated. Well, let's have a quick look at some Bournemouth news, and we're going to have a look at the fixtures, and hopefully our guests will be with us. So this week, big news. Obviously, our minority owner, Michael B. Jordan, wins an Oscar. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen that we're the first football club to have an owner in the Premier League that has won an Oscar. So there we go. Groundbreaking as always.
You know what? If he has a visit to Dean Court, mate, he might bring it on the pitch.
He might well do. They had a big Oscar statue thing at the ground last night. Yeah.
So you don't see that. You don't see that on TV.
No, you wouldn't have done. But yeah, fair play to him. So that's an interesting bit of news from this week. That obviously, you know, our owner, Michael B. Jordan, is the first Premier League owner to win an Oscar. So
It's,
there we go. Couldn't tell you what film it was for, but if you know, pop it in the chat. But I'm not really massively into films, to be honest, so I wouldn't know. All I know Michael B. Jordan from is the Creed films, which
right.
is a follow on from the Rocky
Yeah.
films. They're good films, actually. I do like the
Rocky
films.
was good. Rocky was good.
Yeah. So, and the original Rocky show, you can't beat them.
Oh yeah. Great.
But yeah, moving on. So yes, it's come out now that our new kit manufacturer for next season, on a 5-year deal, will be Hummel, which is an interesting one. I don't know if anyone's looked at any Hummel kits, but a couple of clubs at the minute that I can name off the top of my head that are manufactured by Hummel, Sunderland and Coventry. And yeah, they're quite nice retro looking kits, so I'm quite looking forward to this, actually. There will be a video out some point over the weekend where I'm going to look a little bit more into detail about Hummel, and the history of Hummel, and what we may expect to see from them next season. So do stay tuned to the channel. That will be out at some point, over the weekend. But yes, so they're I don't know if the club's officially announced it. I know it's been in the Echo, and it was also broken on the internet earlier on in the week that it was going to be a deal with Hummel. So yes, that's an interesting one. Let us know your thoughts in the chat. Have you got any thoughts on the new kit manufacturer? But yes, that looks set to commence from the summer. So yeah. So we now know. And to be fair, Umbro have made some great kits over the years. I'll also do another video on that during the summer and look back at some of the kits.
You're the channel shirt expert, Matt. You're the man. 106
Yeah.
not out, isn't it? 106 not in it?
It's over 110 now, I think.
110. Oh dear.
Over that now. But Nick's in. Good to see you, Nick. Hummel isn't that bad. It isn't at all. No, I totally agree. Danish brand. Yeah, absolutely. I think they actually made the Danish kit when they won the Euros back in '92, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, and what I like about Hummel is the retro stuff. But we will touch more on that. Like I said, I will do a video on that at some point over the weekend. So do stay tuned. And yes, this one, Paul, is a bit disappointing, isn't it? Playing some really good football. Obviously, when he first joined us, he was hit with injuries, and he seems to, have had a few injuries of late. Unfortunate, obviously, as the World Cup's coming up, you would expect to see him in that USA squad. So I do hope he can get fit again for the World Cup. Obviously, I want him fit for us as well, but. Obviously, the World Cup only comes around every 4 years. So, I'd love to see him in that USA squad. But, this one's a big loss, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be ongoing, doesn't it? Like last season, he hardly kicked a ball. And then he gets in and he gets going. And then he gets a bad injury. He's had that many injuries. I can't remember what the latest one is. I have no idea what this injury is. I haven't got a clue. But I think he had this problem when he come from Leeds. I think he was the same at Leeds, Matt, with injuries. But when he's out there, mate, brilliant player. Yeah, brilliant player.
He is, and obviously he's attracted a lot of attention as well from other interested clubs and things like that. So, it's a shame. It's a shame. Let's hope he gets fit and back ASAP. Hummel sounds great for the club's kits for the next 2 seasons. Yeah, I believe it's the next 5 seasons. But yeah, definitely excited with this one, Chris. So hopefully, they're going to do some good shirts. Looks like Craig's in the house. As long as they don't give us a version of the Coventry Poo shirt, worst kit of all time. Yeah, do take a look at that one. That is a bit of a. I'm sure we won't get a shirt that looks like that, to be fair. But so moving swiftly on, so that is a disappointment there for Tyler. Hopefully he'll be back ASAP. A bit of news about ex-boss. Mr. Bradbury, yeah, he's been sacked by KSI at Dagenham and Redbridge. Now, I don't know much about KSI, but I believe he's brought into Dagenham and he's replaced him with Andy Carroll, I believe. So yeah, that's a bit of news about an ex player,
I
ex
think,
manager as well.
yeah, just briefly, I think, as you said in the week, Matt, he was very underrated as a boss at Bournemouth. I liked him. Some of the players that he introduced to the club, just briefly, I mean, he brought in Charlie Daniels, Steve Cook, Simon Francis, and for those of you who remember, Matt Tubbs, Sean McDonald, and he brought Harry Arter back from loan, and he put him in the first team. I mean, that's a lot of the promotion team there, isn't it? That he activated there and got moving. I think he did a good job at Bournemouth. He was only there for about a year, wasn't he, Matty? Yeah. Not much longer. I don't think it was
Might have
much
been
longer.
might have been 18 months. Wasn't
Right.
too long. No, because obviously he was then
Good
replaced with
guy.
Paul
Good guy.
Groves. But yeah, we've had him on the channel as well. Myself and Craig did an interview with him a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he had his -17 shirt signed by all the team in the background and everything. So
Really?
yeah, it was a really good interview. Really nice to talk to Lee, and yeah.
Seems a decent
Yeah.
guy. Decent
and
guy.
like you say, he brought some good players into the club as well, who had some longevity with the club as well. So yeah. But a little bit of ex news there on an ex player and manager. This is an interesting one. So Max Aarons to move this summer. Now, myself personally, I've spoke highly of Max Aarons ever since he joined the club. He's a good right back, but obviously now things seem to have moved on a little bit with the club. Obviously, we've signed Jimenez, who's an excellent player. But yeah, Aarons, who's currently on loan at Rangers, where he's made 32 starts, is the subject of interest from 3 clubs. So Wolves, who we're going to touch on a little bit more later on in the show, Feyenoord, and of course Porto. It's said the clubs are set to contact the Cherries regarding his future at the end of this season. Shame that one, Paul, from my perspective, but I do kind of understand it. And I think maybe for the player, I don't think it's good, if you're at a club and you're just consistently loaned out all the time. It might be good for the player's future to get something a little bit more, not whether secure is the word, but I suppose get a real base and continue his career.
2 things, Matt, with this, just briefly. I hadn't realised originally he'd signed on a 5-year contract. So he's actually got 3 years left with Bournemouth. So they're going to get a reasonable fee for him with a 3-year contract in place with him. But my memory of him is like he'd be hit and miss. Apparently he was great in the Championship. I didn't see him much in the Championship. And he came to Bournemouth and he seemed to be hit and miss all the time. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from there. He's still, when he come to Bournemouth, he was, he's still, I think he was only maybe 21, 22, something like that. Yeah. And obviously he'd been in the England setup. I think he was one of the part of the setup that won one of the trophies for the under-21s. I liked him. I still like him as a player. I mean, I think at one point Norwich were after we're talking 30 million. I think we signed him for about 7.5, 8 million or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought at the time, perfect buy, good money, good player. I thought would be the natural successor to Smithy. Obviously, Smithy's longevity is amazing. Obviously, he come on last night and looked like a 19-year-old running around that pitch. But yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's worked out for Max for whatever reason. But yeah, I thought he was decent player. Jimenez has come in as well. He's an absolutely different, I think, different caliber of player. So yeah, interesting. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on those developments. Also, yesterday, we just touch on it briefly. Was about Andoni yet again. It's emerged that he's the leading target for Atletico Bilbao, who want Andoni as their head coach. Obviously, we all know the contract situation at Bournemouth. We all know about that. But basically, what I found interesting about this article was basically the comments that Andoni made at the end of it, which is at where it says, after last night's 2-2 draw with Manchester United, he said about this whole situation that it doesn't have anything to do with me, probably as a supporter because it's my club. But no, it doesn't affect the situation, which I kind of understand that he's automatically going to be linked to them, obviously with the history behind it. But this is the key thing for me. I've said it a lot of times. I'm very happy here. I have a great relationship with the club, which we can all see that he does. And it's true that we will have to take a decision according to this, but it's a situation I've had most of my years as a manager. It's not new to me. So, he's basically saying there, Paul, isn't he, that, he's linked to clubs all the time. He understands the link to this club probably a lot more because obviously his connections with the club, he played for them over 400 times. Sorry, excuse me. Obviously he's got a lot of affiliation with them. But do you know what? I still think he's going to sign a new contract at Bournemouth, even though this whole Bilbao situation is come out, and I understand the links, and obviously his heart would probably rule his head on this decision, because obviously the connection to the club. But I still think he's going to sign the contract at Bournemouth.
I think I'm thinking along the same lines, and you know what, Matt? I think it's going to come out of the blue. I think it's going to happen in the next 3 weeks before our next game with Arsenal. I think we're going to know the outcome because it seems to be contract time at Dean Court. I was thinking about this on my own the other day, and they sorted out the women's team. They put the women's, he is Nick too. Yeah, they sorted out the women's manager, gave her a contract, didn't they? So now they've moved on to Andoni. I mean, it's got to happen. But I think I'm leaning towards what you're thinking too. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to stay. Yeah, which is brilliant. Whether it's a 2-year deal again, that seems to be his favourite, doesn't it? I mean, he loves Sandbanks, from what I can gather. His kids must be settled. So, but home's home on the other side of the coin. Home is home, mate. But so I guess we'll be the last to know as fans, believe you me. But I think they know what's happening at the club already. They're just waiting for the right moment. But just my opinion on that stuff. But I'll tell you.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to move on. We're going to move on now. We're going to have a look at the fixtures before we start to bring our guests in. So we're going to do our normal, aren't we, Paul? We're going to look through the fixtures for this weekend. And we're going to have a quick sort of prediction on them. I think our predictions were pretty awful last week, if I remember rightly.
I've got 4 weeks recorded. The first 3 weeks we was around 70% correct. Last week we were 20%. I don't know what went wrong last week, mate, but 20%. So I wouldn't follow what we say, but first game on the Saturday is Brighton-Liverpool. For me, my money's on Liverpool, Matt. What do you reckon?
Yeah, but then again, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton got a result here. But yeah, looking at it, I'm going to go with a Liverpool win on this one.
Yeah, me too, mate. Fulham Burnley. I think there's only one winner there. Talking to Mark Washburn, who commented on the show, his father's a Fulham supporter. I'm sure he'll want Fulham to win. I think Fulham will win quite comfortably there, mate, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with a Fulham win there, definitely.
Man City Palace has been postponed to a future date due to the Caribbean. What am I talking about? The Carabao Cup final, which is on at the weekend. Next fixture, Everton-Chelsea. It's going to be Chelsea all the way because they're hurting, mate, after getting clobbered in Europe. That's my opinion on that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't happy, were they, the other night with that result? You would expect them to bounce back. But then again, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go Chelsea win. But for me, the Leeds United-Brentford one's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I don't know why, but I think I'm going to go with a draw here.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brentford to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with an away win. I think Leeds are going to bottle it. We'll see. Oh, look at that. Leeds were there. Totally opposite. That's great. That's what it's all about, Nick. That's football. That's great to see that. Lovely to see
A bit of opinion there as well,
I
isn't
like it. That's great.
Palace have a knack of getting results at Man City. They do. Obviously, we'll touch on the Carabao Cup final as well very shortly. Vanessa, we could really fly again if he does stay. Last night's match kept us on our toes, but the energy was much better than recent matches.
True.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. Let's have a look at tomorrow's Premier League fixtures before we look at the cup final. Right, Newcastle Sunderland, big game, big game. Obviously, Newcastle had a bit of a hammering in Barcelona this week.
Yeah.
And this is a massive game tomorrow. How do you see it panning out, Paul?
Red cards all around, mate.
Red cards.
For me, red cards. I think Newcastle will buy a goal, in some shape or form. Going to be a tight one, but I think Newcastle. Yeah, you wouldn't get a ticket for that for quids, would you?
No, you definitely wouldn't. That's definitely going to be, every game's a sellout there. But yeah, those tickets are going to be red hot.
Yeah.
Villa West Ham, Paul. Oh, did we predict a score there? Sorry, did we predict a score?
Well, I said by the odd goal to Newcastle. It could be 1-0, 2-1 for me. What do you reckon, Eddie?
I'm going with a draw.
Are you? Yeah, that's a top game to watch. Early game.
With a draw.
Villa West Ham. I've got a funny feeling Villa are rocking at the moment. I've got a funny feeling that West Ham have got to win, but I think I might go for a draw here on this.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a Villa win.
You're right.
Villa win. And the big one, another big one at 2:15, Spurs versus Forest. Now we're going to touch on both of these sides in a bit more detail very shortly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul, let's give a prediction on the result here.
I'm gonna say 2-0 to Spurs.
You're gonna go 2-0 Spurs.
Yeah, who knows? It's crazy, isn't it? Sunderland will win. Spurs with a draw. Yeah, you're right, Nick. You did right on that. Yeah, for a draw. Yeah, interesting. I love getting the comments on there. It's good because it gives us another opinion. I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to talk about this game, but I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. There you go.
Now, 0-0.
0-0. Wow.
And David Da Costa, Spurs 3-1 win. We are on the up. Do you know what that is? That is a good point there. And obviously, they got a decent draw at Anfield last week. Might not have been the best of performances, but it looked better. And they got draw. Obviously, they had the win, which obviously they went out of the Champions League, but a win's a win. It does build up momentum. Yeah. So do you know what? I think I'm going to go with Spurs here tomorrow.
Me too. Yeah.
And then there is the first silverware to be played for this season. It's the Carabao Cup. Paul, what do you reckon on this one? It's going to be a great game, I think. Obviously, the two top sides in the Premier League. Yes, there's the points advantage that Arsenal have over City now, where in theory Arsenal should win the league. So City are really going to want to get one over on Arsenal here tomorrow. Yeah,
I think this is going to go extra time penalties, Matt. I could see that coming, but just an opinion. It's a toss of a coin for me on that one. I think I'm going to go City. I think I'll go City too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with City there. But I think it's going to be a long game. Yeah, I'm going to go. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go 3-2 City on this one. Right. Yeah. We'll go 3-2 City. Yeah. But that's our guesses. Paul will keep track on that. Chris is going with Arsenal 3-1 win. Well done, Chris. Okay. Cool, Chris. Excellent. But yes, we're up to our point now where we're going to bring some guests in.
a guest at the moment, and we're going to talk about the relegation saga that's going on. So we'll be back in a second. And it's a hello to our friend Malcolm. Malcolm, thanks for joining us. Great to have you with us.
Hello, good morning, Matt. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, I want to know the weather report over there, mate. Come on, what's going on?
Overcast.
Yeah,
overcast, 7 degrees.
Right. Not raining, just horrible.
It's overcast, cloudy. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, look, great to have you on, Malcolm. Always a pleasure, mate. Brilliant. I enjoy seeing you on. Well done. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Thanks for the link yesterday, by the way. World of Sport.
Oh, Benny Hill.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Priceless, mate.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I haven't got a clue what you're on about.
Yeah. Oh, I'll send it to you.
I'll do it.
You do it. Yeah. You'll love it.
Oh, okay, excellent. Well, yeah, no, great to have you on with us, Malcolm. Yep. Thank you for joining us. Just quickly, a couple of comments. Carboero Cup. Yeah. Not everybody enjoys this trophy. I quite enjoy this cup final. I've said it quite a lot. I enjoy this cup final. City hope the Gooners lose. And Chris saying hi to Mal there. Well, let's get on with it then. Let's have some discussions about the relegation debate then. So just to start us off very quickly, let's just have a quick look at the bottom of the table as it is. So it does look like this season it will finally break that run of all three newly promoted sides being relegated straight back to the Championship. Obviously, the last time that didn't happen was the season we came back up. When we managed to stay up. Us and Forest stayed up that year, and I think was it Leeds that went back down that season?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yes, so the last two Premier League seasons have seen each of the teams go back down. So Leeds and Burnley last season, along with Sunderland, they came up. Leeds and Burnley were the strongest of the two sides to come up from the second tier that year. I think they both had over 100 points. Was it 100 points they collected? And it's actually them. It's actually Burnley being one of them that's struggling at the bottom there. Wolves, Burnley, they already look doomed, don't they? But we're going to discuss a bit more in detail the situation with West Ham, Forest, Spurs, and Leeds. So we'll discuss all the teams, but we'll take a look there. But if we start off, guys, with Wolves, I know you watch a lot of football, Malcolm. Have you watched a lot of Wolves this season?
I suppose, yes, I have. I mean, obviously, you know, how the season panned out for them was quite embarrassing, really. And they were sort of resigned to going down quite early on, weren't they? Even from the supporters channels that I watch. But since the new managers come in, it took him a while to get going. But, you know, they performed decently. What was the last time out? Didn't they get a 2-2 draw?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. But it just shows that this never say die attitude. And their football is good to watch as well. So I think, for me personally, he's actually getting them into a decent position, ready for the Championship. So for next season, you know, they're going to be hitting the ground running, and it wouldn't surprise me if they bounce straight back up.
Yeah. Paul, what's your thoughts on?
Well, you know, you've highlighted in yellow. Wolves have got to play 4 of the people in the relegation fight. Now that's going to mean that's cup final every game there, isn't it? Brentford away, very difficult game. I mean, West Ham away, wow. Leeds away, Spurs and Burnley away. That's what would you say the percentages were? 99%, wasn't it? Certain to go.
Yeah,
down.
we'll have a look at the probability
Yeah,
percentages
yeah,
towards the end.
yeah.
But it does look like for me. I mean,
Yeah.
when Rob Edwards was appointed, I thought, why is he leaving Middlesbrough, who were in a good position at the time in the Championship? But obviously, I know he's played for Wolves, he's got affiliation with Wolves. So I can kind of now on there understand it. But from the games I saw, and I watched the 2-2 draw against Brentford, wasn't it, on Monday night?
Yep.
And you know what? There's a difference in them, and I can see that he's gone in there for the long-term project. I think he's obviously gone in there. He's not. I don't think his job is hanging on them staying in the league. I think his job is about the rebuild, and I think that's already kind of started. I think he's obviously going to assess throughout the summer who he can keep, who he wants to bring in, and who he wants to ship out. And I think Malcolm's pretty much spot on there. I think they're going to hit the ground running next season, and you're going to see them as promotion contenders. I think under Rob Edwards, he's obviously got the experience in the Championship. Obviously, he brought Luton up. And this is where me and Craig have sometimes debated about Scott Parker. No matter what anybody thinks about Scott Parker is a manager who knows the Championship, knows how to get a side out the Championship. Rob Edwards has already done it with Luton, and so he's got that pedigree about him. And I think, like I say, Malcolm's spot on with that. But it is a little bit too little too late from the Premier League side of things, isn't it? Maybe if they brought Rob Edwards in, maybe, I can't remember when he went in there now. When did he go in there?
After Christmas, I think.
Was it after Christmas? So
yeah.
You think if they'd have brought him in maybe October time,
yeah,
maybe they had a bit more fight about him.
Yeah,
but,
I think you're right. I mean, realistically, we can all dream. We did it, but with Eddie, but stayed in the league. But it's too much for me. I think Wolves have had it.
Yeah, but they are going to play an important part, aren't they? Who goes down? Obviously, they're facing West Ham. We know Leeds and Spurs. So obviously, by the time they play Burnley, probably both sides will be relegated, I'd imagine, by then. And so that would just be sort of just a finisher to the season. But they could have a big say in what happens in those 3 games there with Leeds, West Ham, and Spurs. So let's have a look at Burnley very quickly. So question to you guys very quickly. Let's start with Malcolm, our guest, first. Will Parker ever keep a side in the Premier League, Malcolm? What do you reckon?
Unfortunately not. I mean, he's let's be fair, at least this time out, he's got some decent players there at Burnley, and even the football's been decent to watch. But it's just lacking something. So he's always going to be struggling to, get above the relegation area with the sides that he's got. But certainly, I think they go down. If he stays, who knows? They could, bounce straight back up, because as you rightly pointed out, he knows the Championship, and he is, without doubt, a really good manager for the Championship. So. And the question is, do they keep the players that they've got? Because they do have some talent there.
They can give us one back straight away, Malcolm. I bet you never guess who that is.
Oh, I wonder which Jaden Anthony that is.
Yeah, I can remember saying to Matt when he went, I was saying we should never have sold that guy. You could see his potential. He was brilliant. He would have been used this season. We would have been using this guy. He had a brilliant game, didn't he? Against us. He was man of the match for me, for them.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, what I've seen of him this season, he's really, really excelled.
Yeah.
He's
and
certainly a fan's favourite up there as well. So kudos to him, really.
Because they got him on a 5-year contract again, a long contract, so it's going to cost money. but I can't see him coming back, unfortunately. But again, this side, they're involved with 3 of the relegation candidates. They've got Forest away, they've got Leeds away, they've got Wolves at home. So they're going to have a say in it as well. Our draw last week against him was very frustrating to watch. We should have won that game. Should have won it. But, yeah, I think it's too late for Burnley again. I can see them going. And I could see Parker staying, Malcolm, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they're going to be relegated and they've got a manager in Parker who's brought 3 teams out of that championship,
Yeah.
you would stick with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But then would you make a decision if they got the side promoted and you'd be like, right, you've got 2 months. If we're not out of that sort of threatened relegation part of the team, if they turn around and say, no, if we're not, solidly in like 12th place come October, we'll be making a change or something like that, because I don't think they'd want to keep yo-yoing.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
But definitely, you've got a manager there in Scott Park. He's I suppose he's like a Neil Warnock in some respects. Can get a side out of the championship, knows the championship. He's an excellent manager at that level. We saw it at Bournemouth. Okay, I didn't think the football was overly exciting, but he did the job. And that was the main thing from my perspective. But I think, the football's not always attractive, and I think maybe Burnley fans and Fulham fans would probably agree. But if he can get you back to the promised land, I think you stick with him.
Yeah. I mean, the year he got us out, just briefly, and then we'll move on. The year he got us out, I think he went 15 games unbeaten. We at the start of the season in the championship, didn't we? With him, he's nobody's fool. But, good boss. Yeah,
definitely. Well, let's have a look at the first of the teams that have a chance of staying up, and that's West Ham. Now they play Leeds and Wolves from this relegation sort of battle, but they do have some tricky ones. They've got Villa away this weekend, which we gave a prediction for very just shortly ago. That's going to be a tricky game for them. But then again, they play the likes of Brentford, Arsenal, and Newcastle towards the end of the season as well. So if they're going to need some points at the end of the season, they could be facing some tricky opposition there. They're playing a lot better now, I think, in the games I've watched them recently. But that Leeds and Wolves fixture at home is massive for them. Would you agree with that one, Malcolm?
Absolutely. I've got all the 4 teams here written down with their fixture list for the end of the season, and West Ham to me are the team that have got the most fight in them.
Yeah.
I did call it, didn't I, last week against City? Absolutely brilliant. City dominated them to start with. Once they went a goal up, West Ham suddenly woke up and said, well, we've got nothing to lose now. And they battled and certainly earned that point. And they're decent now. They got the young lad Somerville. I think he's back this weekend, which is a big plus for them. Out of the 4 teams, the Leeds, Spurs, Forest, and West Ham, these are the battlers for me. They're actually showing something about them that they want to stay up.
Yeah.
With the others, they're a little bit, I would say, hit and miss. You don't know what team's going to turn up on the day, despite the last week's results. With Tottenham getting the draw. Forest, they put in a hell of a performance in the week against Midtjylland. It wasn't their, let's just say, strongest starting lineup, but the guys that came on, wow, what a performance, and to actually turn that tie around, it was really, really good. So who knows? It's going to be all on the day, every match day. Who's going to turn up? Out of all of them, I think West Ham will be the team that will turn up.
Yeah.
But my prediction, I'll throw in at the end.
Yeah, no, definitely. But no, I totally get your points that you've made there, Malcolm. And my points, I think, with who will stay up is quite similar. Just very quickly, comment just to say hello. Great to hear you two working it all out and powering on, enjoying the show. Cheers. Always great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Paul, do you want to say a quick hello?
Yeah, young Johnny. Hi, mate. Mr. Buddy Guy got cancelled, but we won't be going to the concert. But 90 years old. Incredible. Yeah, hi, John. Lovely to hear from you, mate. Just to go back to the football on there, I look at those last three fixtures and I see the way the table's set up. Even Everton, actually, the last four fixtures, they're in trouble. You look at that lot: Everton at home, Brentford away, Arsenal at home, Newcastle away. Now, those four teams are all involved. You've got Everton and Brentford trying to get into spot 7.
Yeah.
You've got Arsenal trying to win the league, and you've got Newcastle want to get into Europe again. So this is Simon Jordan on TalkSport. I watched him. This was his candidate to go. He said as much as he had nothing against West Ham, he thought that he's right. I think those last 4 games are absolute shockers for them. And they're going to have to if they don't beat Leeds and Wolves at home, it's looking grim for me. Because they're all involved in stuff, aren't they? Those last 4 fixtures, they're all of them. That's what I'm. Even Villa. I mean, even Villa, they've been losing left, right, and centre, but they turn it on tomorrow. There's another game gone, so we'll see. Yeah.
No, I do agree. I think with West Ham, I see your point with the 4 games at the end of the season being
the last 4
games. Massive games for each of those sides, isn't it? Like you say, Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle. So that's why I think those Leeds and Wolves games are absolutely key. That they get the 6 points from those games, because they're going to be a massive 6 points.
If they lost all of those games except those 2 home games against Leeds and Wolves, they'd be on 35 points.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I was going to say is, and it's just going back to Malcolm's point, that they've got a bit of fight in them.
They have. Yeah.
I think there's points there that they will take some points off those sides that are competing for those places that you've just highlighted, Paul. I think I think there's always a potential slip up. As you come towards the end of the season, there's always some surprise results, isn't there? Who knows? Arsenal might have won the league by then.
True, but
maybe Arsenal might rotate the squad a little bit. Who knows? But even then, nothing's guaranteed, is it?
I mean, if Leeds lose this weekend, and then whenever it is in April, if they play away at West Ham, Leeds are going to be going for that. It's going to go right to the end, isn't it? Last week of the season. This, but we'll move on, Maddie. Yep. When you're ready.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, let's have a look at the next one. So this is an interesting one. I think there's some interesting talking points here. So 4 managers and a clueless owner. I know Craig's had some points about the ownership there, but let's quickly look at the fixtures. They've got Spurs, which is a massive game tomorrow for both sides. Then they play Villa, Burnley, and then they've got Sunderland, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, and then of course they face the mighty Cherries on the last day of the season. But just to put it to you first, Malcolm, 4 managers is a lot in one season. It's too much upheaval, in my opinion.
Unbelievable,
isn't it? And you think they've had to learn 4 different types of philosophies from different managers. Each manager has their own way that they think that the game should be played. I mean, the Dyche way is very, very different to the Piero way, who's in there now. So, if you were one of the players there, it must be extremely confusing, to have to learn and play in different ways. I know they're professionals, they have to adapt and things like that, but when you have 4 managers in the season and you're struggling at the bottom of the league, that is a little bit of too much of an upheaval, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's certainly not ideal what's gone on this season. I think, if anything, you have to look forward. You have to, like I say, right, put everything behind us now, because you've got this last chance, and it really is like a last chance saloon here with Forest. I'll go back to the performance in midweek. They showed an awful lot of character, certainly a lot of fight. Now, bearing in mind, they couldn't score goals for love of money, could they? In the past weeks, but they looked really, really up for it. They were a bit unfortunate, actually. Went to extra time and penalties in the end. I mean, they got through, but there was enough there. What I saw, that they take that going forward now. There's no reason why they couldn't scrape to stay in the Premier League. And obviously their next game, away to Spurs. It's a question of which team is going to turn up and want to perform. And I'm taking it that from both sides they'll be very, very sort of nervous about the game because it is a 6-pointer, whichever way you look at it. We have to wait till tomorrow now to find out, but that's certainly one I will be watching.
Yeah,
I don't know if Forest. I really don't know. I could be too little, too late with their manager.
Yeah, I think what we do is at the end, when we look at the probabilities, I think we'll give our opinions on who we think will go down. I think that would be a good shout. But yeah, I'm aligning with yourself there, Malcolm, on what you're saying there. Paul, what do you think of these fixtures? Can you see them getting enough points from these fixtures to stay up, or do you think they're going to struggle?
Yeah, I look at those last 4 games again. I mean, we're their bogey team. They seem to lose to us all the time. In that last fixture, they got Bournemouth at home. They'll be dreading that fixture. If they need to win, they'll be dreading it. You look at Man United, they're going to be challenging for Europe. Newcastle challenging for a European spot. Chelsea trying to get in the Champions League. And Villa trying to get in the Champions League. That's no easy run in either, is it?
No.
And you look at those fixtures, those last 4 again, shockers. I mean, we always seem to beat them, don't we, Milk? We always seem to beat Forest.
Well, we don't lose to them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we haven't. No, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it could go down to the wire where they need a win last game of the season, and with our sort of recent results, it could end up being a draw. And them not having so we could play a part in that on the last day of the season if it goes to the wire. So just quickly, a couple of comments, guys, just very quickly. Marinakis has turned them from a team who got to Europe to one that could easily go down. Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. It's not just that it's 4 managers who play completely different styles. Their players must be absolutely confused. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The players must be confused by having to adapt styles 4 times in one season. David DaCosta, Spurs have finally woke up. We will come out fighting from now. Our tails are up. Well, we're going to touch on Spurs, David, very shortly. I think it might actually be the next ones we're going to touch on now. We were going to have Harry join us, but unfortunately he's been unable to. And I was hopefully going to sort of get some answers from him on some of these questions here. But, why have Spurs struggled this season? So obviously they've had a long winless run. And they've had repeated collapses all through the season. Their injuries and their ill discipline. I think one player's been sent off 3 times. I think their skipper, Romero, hasn't he been sent off like 3 times this season? Is it mentality problems? Wanted to ask questions on their poor home form. Managerial instability. I mean, you had Ange, who was in there. He won them the first European trophy in over 40 years. and they make the change for Thomas Frank, who I thought would personally be the first manager casualty this season. But definitely, I did predict at the beginning of the season that I thought he wouldn't see the season out as Spurs manager. And yeah, is it a dramatic drop after European success? So what I'll do is I will ask your opinions, guys, on this one. Malcolm, what's kind of your thoughts? Obviously, I know you watch a lot of football. I'm sure you've seen some Spurs games this season, but what do you think is the sort of catalyst of this situation at Spurs?
Well, I think it's a multitude of things, really. The first thing, obviously, the injury list is absolutely unbelievable. How many injured players they've got out. Players that would be in the starting lineup. I do follow a couple of the channels as well, Spurs channels, and they put all the stats up there, and they give you more or less daily updates. And okay, you can only play with the players you got. So, but some of the performances, it looked to me like some of the players were down tools that they just didn't want to know for whatever reason. Just unbelievable, highly paid professionals. And the discipline, obviously, is another major factor. And, they've had enough red cards to last them to the end of the season. Players that haven't stepped up, individual players who you probably think, wow, we got this player in, but just hasn't performed. But one game doesn't make him a great player. He has to do it over many games. So we'll see how they go. There is the issue with the board. So board management players. That was really upsetting for everybody. Was Igor Tudor the right guy to get in? Fans were calling him to go after the third game because he didn't show anything. Now they get a draw at Liverpool, and then the Champions League. Obviously, the debacle in Atletico was unbelievable. What went on there, and that just sort of summed Spurs season up for me. Now, whether they continue in the vein of getting points remains to be seen. It is on the day. Like I said, what team's going to turn up, and have they got it in their heads to actually get a result over the line?
Yeah. I think that's some valid points there. Just quickly, Paul, before I come to you, just in the chat there from El Tel, Everton fan, and a good show. So thank you for that, El Tel. Much appreciated. Do please give us a sub and a like and hit the notification bell. We do a lot of different content on here. And if you ever want to get involved yourself, always drop us an email. Our contact details are on our YouTube channel. We're always happy to have fans from different clubs come on. But thank you very much for your comment there. We really do appreciate that. Paul, should we have a quick look at the fixtures on this one?
Just with El Tel, can we ask him, can we have his ground? The new one. But,
their new one. Yes, you've been up there, haven't you?
I went there 3 months ago, and an absolutely amazing ground, El Tel. Congratulations, mate. You got 40 years of football there covered. Beautiful, beautiful ground.
Everton can't win. Everton can't win at home.
They can't at the minute, can they? No. But they were looking really, really good. I mean, when they come down and they played us at the Vitality, they were looking really strong, and I think they've sort of dropped off their home form at the minute, hasn't it? I mean, I know we got the win up there, didn't we? Recently, that midweek game, was it midweek or Monday night? I can't remember. They were looking really good, but they've kind of dropped off a little bit, which is unfortunate. But what a stadium! What a stadium!
Unbelievable.
Even though the old Goodison Park was, one of those classic stadiums, wasn't it? those old-fashioned stadiums, which are now, you're just not seeing anymore, are you? But yeah, this new one they've got is magnificent. But Paul,
like a 5-star hotel.
yeah,
That's
absolutely,
like a 5-star hotel.
absolutely.
Yeah, let's get into Spurs. Yeah.
So Spurs. I mean,
hmm,
this one, Paul.
hmm.
Obviously, the game tomorrow we know is absolutely massive for them. From a Spurs perspective, they need it. It's a massive 6-pointer, isn't it? Then they go to Sunderland and they've got Brighton at home. Could be a bit of a couple of tricky games there. I mean, Sunderland's home form has now dipped. Sorry, my apologies there. That's dipped quite a bit, so they should be looking, hopefully getting something there. Brighton, always a tricky one. Can always be a tricky one. Can always cause you problems.
Yeah.
Then you go to Wolves, which has got to be an absolute must-win for them. Villa could be tricky, with the whole European side of things, and then they face Leeds. Can you see them getting the points to stay up?
Well, I'll tell you what. I watched them play that game in the week, and this guy, here we go, the board and owners had a nice little earner from CL, £71 million from the Champions League he's talking about. Dave there, yeah, 71 million they got from playing in Europe. But
wow.
Yeah, look,
that'd be a lot of money to invest in some players if they were to go down, wouldn't it? But yeah, sorry, Paul, over to you.
No, it's fine. I interrupted the flow. This guy, I watched him, Igor Tudor. He's down that tunnel. Like after the whistle blew, he was down the tunnel in about 1 minute flat. He had no intention of going out, waving to the fans or doing anything. He's sort of not endearing the fans from what you see in front of your eyes on the TV. But looking at their fixture list again, I mean, there's a few nasty little curly ones in there. You've got Everton and Chelsea again. Villa, the last 4 games, 3 of those teams are going to be busting to get into Europe again. So it's going to be close. But tomorrow's game, as you said, Malcolm, is massive. This is a 6-pointer tomorrow. We're going to have a much clearer indication because Spurs will go up to 35 points. If they win tomorrow, they'll go to 35 points. The downside is they haven't won a game this year.
That's right.
That is the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. But they have built up a bit of momentum, though, Paul. They had the decent draw at Anfield, which, when you look at it, is a massive point on the board. Yeah. Considering the position they're in, they shouldn't be in that position. But obviously, like Malcolm's highlighted, some of the reasons, injuries being a massive one.
Yeah. But again, Matt, every club. Look at the injuries we've had.
Yeah.
Them. We all get 8 and 9 at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
the season before.
It's just one contributing factor, isn't it? That the injuries. There's other points that Malcolm made, which is all. It's all.
I agree.
My personal opinion, if I was a Spurs fan, I think I'd have been disappointed losing Ange. To be honest, I think he won that trophy. Yes, their league form wasn't great last season. Yeah, I understand that, but he won them a trophy. He won them something, and I felt that he deserved to have another crack at this season. And obviously hindsight is a wonderful thing, but would they be in that position if Ange had stayed? We're never going to know. But I don't think they'd be quite in the turmoil they are now if he had stayed. Personally, that's just a personal opinion.
You got to blame Thomas Frank, haven't you? I mean, they left him in charge for like 6-7 weeks too long. I'm not even a Spurs supporter. What do you reckon, Malcolm? Do you think they should have got rid of Frank earlier?
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot. What
you said earlier, Malcolm. They weren't playing for him. They down tools for him. I'm sure of it. They didn't play for him, did they? They lost all interest in lethargic. Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is there was a lot we see on camera. Obviously, when you're watching the matches, contact or no contact with the manager, sort of ignoring him and things like that.
That's right. And walking past him.
Yeah. He'd lost the dressing room, weeks before he left. So
I think if just summarising Spurs in my head, I think if he'd have gone 6 to 8 weeks earlier, I don't think they'd have been in this position now. I don't know whether they'd have got this bloke.
That would depend on who they would have brought in then.
Yeah, that's right. You're right, Malcolm. Yeah, you're dead right. Yeah, and
I'm still not convinced that Igor Tudor's the right guy.
Oh, I don't think so.
But if he gets the job done, you'll say that it was the right choice.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's massive. 6 points tomorrow.
And then you've got the summer to try and find somebody else.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's no way Igor Tudor's going to stay there next season. He's only sort of interim anyway, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, Dave, my friend Dave DeCosta, who just commented, said he looks like he's out of the mafia. He'd. But
it probably is.
Yeah, he could be. So there you go. Yeah, interesting stuff. There you go, Dave. I
remember.
You're right.
Yeah, I do get that. I think what Thomas Frank did at Brentford was an amazing job. I mean, he was Brentford. He built that club. But they've always had a good model of appointing from within, and they've made an excellent decision with the guy that they've appointed. Keith Andrews. I honestly thought Brentford would struggle this season, but he's done a fantastic job. I think Thomas Frank coming out of there was probably the right time. Had he taken Brentford as far as he could, possibly. I think there always comes that point, doesn't there, where you've taken a project as far as you can. But I don't think Tottenham was the right step for him. And I thought when he went in there, I didn't think he would see the season out. I thought, like I said previously, I thought it'd be the first managerial casualty of the season. And I think when you look back on that point there from Dave, he probably should have gone probably in November. And things may not be where they are now. Who knows? But I think Tudor is, like Malcolm said, he's there just to do the job. His brief is keep them in the Premier League, and then they look in the summer and who they want to bring in long term. But
just one question to both of you.
Yeah.
How do you think Dom's performing for Spurs? Is he performing at the level he was performing at with Bournemouth? What do you reckon? What do you guys? If anybody in the comments could put anything they like him, but do you think is he the Dom that we knew, or has he gone off the boil? I know he had that long injury. But what do you guys reckon?
I think sorry, Malcolm. I'll just quickly let you know. I think for me, it's a little bit difficult to judge. He's been out for so long. I don't think we can really judge him like that. When you look back on his impact he had at Spurs last season, I thought he had a fairly good season. He's gone there. I think he can show what he's about. I think it's nice to see him in the England squad again. I'll tell you for why. I think if you wanted a like-for-like player in terms of how Harry Kane plays, I think Dom's your man. Okay, he hasn't been as prolific as Harry, but he can kind of play a similar game to Harry. So in terms of like-for-like player, I think, Dom, it's nice to see Dom back in there. It's nice to see Dom get his opportunity. After being out so long injured. We'll touch very briefly on Alex Scott at the end of the show, but in terms of Dom, but when you look at it from this perspective, I think Dave's saying he's hot and cold at Spurs, but then again, I think at the minute, I think it's a little bit too hard to judge. But just before we get Malcolm's opinion on that very quickly, Mal believing Igor, he would do the job. Nick, managers should always take the opportunities given to them. Regret of not taking it weighs more than giving it a go. Absolutely, in reference to Thomas Frank. Yeah, totally agree with that. You have, totally agree. You're never going to know if you can do the job at that level, I suppose, if you don't have a go. But sorry, Malcolm, over to you.
Well, obviously, the injuries that he's had played a big part in, lack of minutes. So he's getting back to having more game time now. Look, I really wouldn't judge him on, or even compare him to, how good he was at Bournemouth on this season at all. So
No.
if he can keep himself fit and keep pushing and playing the way he wants to play, and if he's still there next season, yeah, why not? He could reach that level again.
See, that's you brought in. We don't want to get bogged down, but you brought up an issue there. If Spurs do go down, what happens to him?
Well, I mean, it's all unknown, isn't it?
Does he
It's
play
all
in the
unknown.
Championship? Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's all a bit if and buts, isn't it?
it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
There are some players who want to leave, aren't there?
Yeah,
Tottenham. So, it's no secret.
Romero, I think is one.
Yeah, and Van der Ven.
I
There
think
you go.
Dave will tell us, but I think yeah.
I mean, these players who think they're, top dogs, and to be honest with you, some of their performances, I mean, pretty ropey. They're quite happy to take the paycheck, but not, not work for it. So, and that I'm afraid, it's not every player. Not every player is like that, but there are a few mercenaries in the Premier League, and it's something that does get under my skin a bit.
Yeah.
But hey ho, watch this space.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's take a look at Leeds. Now Leeds, I would say probably 2 wins from safety, in my opinion. I don't know if you two agree, but they will face Wolves, Burnley, Spurs, and West Ham in the run-in. They do have a couple of difficult fixtures there. Obviously, they come to Bournemouth as well. But guys, do you think? I think there's enough points there that they'll be okay, Leeds.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah, I think they'll be marching on together, won't they?
They seem to have an easier run-in, don't they? Yeah.
On paper, yes.
Yeah, but football's strange.
I reckon 2 wins and they'll be fine. But let's have a quick look at the probability for a second. So the probabilities, obviously, for the bottom 2 clubs is 99.91 and 99.59% for them too, which obviously we're fully aware of. But then that's where it gets interesting. West Ham have a 45.65% chance of relegation. Forest 34.34%. Spurs 13.86, and then Leeds there 6.54. Now, guys, this is where we're gonna now decide who will join Wolves and Burnley. Would you two like me to go first?
Yep,
please do.
Okay. For me, I think it's going to be Forest, and the reason why I say Forest, I think just everything that's happened this season, I think doesn't help. And I feel sorry for the fans and the players. With all these managerial changes, they got back into Europe for the first time since the days of Brian Clough. It should have been a great season for Forest, but I think with all the upheaval, I think that's going to affect it. And I think when you look at the run-in, and as we've said, West Ham have got some fight in them, and I think West Ham can get the points. Leeds are virtually out of it. Spurs shouldn't really go down, even with the injuries that they've got. So for me, I'm going Forest. Malcolm.
It is a tough call, and I think it's going to go right down to the last game of the season as well. I really do. Looking at the fixtures, and there will be surprises along the way. There's no, yes, that's a given 3 points. That won't happen because, football is just so unpredictable. You could probably go into the betting shop and, put a mortgage on a team to win, and they won't. So I tend to agree with you, Matt. I really do. I think Spurs could just find something over the next few weeks. The unfortunate thing is we got this long break coming up. The international break. So we're talking about 3 weeks and no football, Premier League football. So can that get players back fit? It's going to obviously be an important part for most clubs, including ourselves. But looking through the fixtures, and I really can't see how Forest will stay up. And yeah, they got some toughies. They really have. Now they've got one eye still in Europe, haven't they? So can't remember who they got to play. Is it Porto? I don't know if you can see that.
I think.
You know,
yeah.
so I mean that's going to be a toughie anyway. And if they were just to concentrate on the Premier League, then okay. But to have the sidetrack of 2 European games thrown in as well, I don't know. I don't think they're going to manage it. It's going to be very, very close. I mean, it says there 45% to 34 with Forest and West Ham, and I firmly believe that West Ham will stay up. I really do, because of the fight they got in them. They got the right mentality. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You stick to your game plan, and Nuno's got them playing really good, really well. They're fighting in every position on the field now. But hey ho, what do we know?
Yeah, very, very true. We can only give an opinion.
I mean, if you look over the season and the turmoil at Forest, it's just unbelievable. It should never have been happening. And I agree with your statement about the fans. I feel sorry for them too. To have to go through all that. It's going to be close, but I think Forest will be the third one that'll drop down.
Yeah, cool. Paul,
final word. I love this because I'm going to disagree with both of you. I'm disagreeing with both, and I love it. I mean, you'll probably be right, but I got to go with West Ham going down, because those last 4 fixtures are nightmares. But I'm going to go with West Ham going, and it's going to go. Malcolm, you're right. It's going to go to the last day of the season, and it's going to be the toss of a coin, mate. It's literally going to be that close. And again, I could probably be wrong, because Forest have got Bournemouth. They're bogey team. So West
Ham at home to Leeds on the last day of the season as well. Remember?
I know. Like you say, we're not. Who can predict it? You can't predict it.
You can't.
You can't. But if I was going to put my house on something, I'd say West Ham. That I'm different. I love it that I'm different. So
and it's all about opinion. No one's right, no one's wrong. Yeah, it's just our opinion.
And tomorrow's going to, if Forest go to Spurs and win tomorrow,
well,
Well, this is it. Yeah, it will massively turn it, but then again, it will flip it the other way as well, Paul. If Forest lose tomorrow and West Ham win, it will flip that.
I know.
Whole probability percentage around. So, interesting. So, myself and Malcolm have gone Forest, and Paul is going West Ham. So that kind of wraps up our Premier League debate. And we'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so we're going to get the answer to Spot the Ball. I've managed to remember this time, so I haven't needed anyone to remind me, but thank you very much. But anyway, let's have a quick look at the comments very quickly. Some have come in, mostly paper talk. I think that's the answer to the players being unhappy at Spurs. David's gone with Leeds or Forest. Chris Hubble's gone with Forest. Great show, thank you. Cheers, Julie. Thank you for tuning in as always. Well done, chaps. Great debate, content spot on. Thank you, David. Always great to have you with us. Vanessa, it's a difficult call this season. Thanks for an informative show. Have a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend and a great week as well, Vanessa. And Spot the Ball. Yeah, it's coming up, Nick. It's here. Thanks for dropping comments, because you never know if I'm going to remember or forget. So thank you for that. So yes, here we go. Spot the Ball. Let's have a look in the comments who's had guesses. So Chris Hubble's gone with D. Colin went with C. Malcolm, our guest today, also went with C. Looking very cool in his car there. David went with B. Darren, I think C this time. Hard to tell. Yeah, I think this is a difficult one. And Julie has gone with C. So let's have a look. Let's reveal where the ball is. A, B, C, or D. And this week it is.
Oh,
It's
wow.
in B this week. So for those that said B, well done. For those that didn't say B, come back next week and have another go. But yeah, yeah. So that was B this week. Guys, just literally before we wrap up, obviously we haven't got a music feature this week because obviously we were having the relegation chat. But Alex Scott not getting into the England squad, I think is a real shame. I think again he played another good game last night. Cracking game. And I look at some of the players Tuchel selected. I think I think Scott deserves a place in that squad. Guys, what do you think?
You'll go, Malk. Go on. You'll go.
I go. I think Thomas Tuchel wants to look at other players. I don't think that has anything to do with not wanting Alex Scott in there. I just think he's going to use this last couple of games to have like the camp, to bring the players in and to have a look at them. And then he'll make his decision, obviously, before the World Cup, what squad he's going to take with him. So I wouldn't read too much into all that. Obviously, the press get hold of it, and he'll just keep on playing. He'll keep his head down. He won't look into it. He'll just say, right, I'm playing my football. And keep performing.
And just before Paul comes in there, I get what you're saying. I think that's the reason. I think that's the reason that Tuchel wants to look at some other players. The only thing that's in my mind is that Scott hasn't played any minutes at full international level, and is that too much of a risk to take to a World Cup? Should he have been in this squad just to get some minutes under his belt, to get a feel for full international football, or not? I don't know.
I don't think even the other players he's bringing in for this next camp, I don't think all of them will get any minutes. So it's just a question of seeing what they're doing around training and everything, how they how they gel together, and
Final word from you, Paul.
Yeah, look, I did a bit of homework on this, which I think there's one major factor that lets him down. We know he plays brilliant every week. Do you know, when he played for Bristol City, in 91 appearances, he scored 6 goals. 1 every 15 games. Right? Not enough in the championship. He's played for Bournemouth. He's played 73 times and he's scored 3 goals, which is 1 goal, wait for this, guys, every 21 games. That has not helped his cause. If he'd have been half a dozen a season, 8 a season, I think they'd have taken a deeper look. But if you remember last week, we spoke about it, and I said I was 50-50 on whether he'd get in the squad. His goal, he doesn't score goals. I know not all midfielders do, but I think he needs a bigger return than 1 in 23 games. That's awful, isn't it? Awful return.
Yeah, I kind of get that as well, and I suppose some people have also said that of Christie, that Christie should contribute with more goals. But I think when you're playing sometimes in that midfield role, especially sometimes Scott plays deeper, sometimes he plays more advanced.
He played deeper last night.
Yeah, I think the goal side of it isn't a massive element for me. I don't think.
You know what?
He should be in the squad.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion on that one. I think his all-round game and what he contributes, and the fact that he can play in a more advanced position or a more deeper position, gives you more option with that particular player. So I don't know if I agree on that one, Paul, to be fair.
Well, it's great that we don't. I love it that we don't agree.
Yeah,
but
that's just opinion. Yeah,
I like
totally.
it. There was I didn't write the statistic down, but they also quoted how shot shy he was. There was some ridiculous statistic that he hadn't hardly had any shots through the whole season with Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But it's just an opinion.
Yeah,
I did
absolutely.
say last week I wasn't sure he'd get in. I knew Brooksy would and the other guys, but should have had that one. Oh, what a shot, Chris! Oh, wow. Last night shot.
Oh yes, War.
Yeah.
He had a fantastic shot last night.
Often that will come back off the bar, hit the keeper on the back and go in the goal.
Yeah.
But with luck it didn't.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Chris. Yeah, brilliant point.
Yeah, good point, Chris. But we're going to wrap up now. Just come to the last couple of comments. Great show as always, guys. Need to drop off, but looking forward to the next one. Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Colin. Always great to have you with us as well. Big thank you to Malcolm, who's come on board today to give us his thoughts and opinions on the relegation debate. And as always, it's a goodbye from me. And it's a goodbye from my co-host. And I'll let Paul have the final word.
You let me have the final word. Well, we're going to be back next week. Thanks, Malcolm. Always a pleasure to have you
having
on.
me on.
Yeah, you're also a member of the Benny Hill fan club, which is nice. So, a man of good taste. Yeah, all right. Have a lovely night, guys, or whatever
Cheers,
you're
everybody.
doing in the day. Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.